Hi, I'm not used to doing a video, so excuse me. I thought I would, oh, and there goes a car while I'm talking to myself. Anyway, I thought I'd do a video instead of a post and see how it was. I'm using my camera, or my phone, so it might be a little bit shaky. But I started a post the other day because somebody commented that they were still in the relationship and they were getting ready to leave. They were almost ready to leave. And I remember saying that for like 6 years, that, the next time he did this or that, I was going to leave. That would be enough. That would be enough to convince me that it was a good thing to leave. But it always got worse, and I never left. Or if I left, he talked me into coming back. And so many of us do go back time after time. And the thing is, I'd been in relationships before, and I had broken up before, and I had felt bad and cried and everything, but I never felt as devastated as I did with James. And that's what so many victims say also, that they don't understand why they feel so devastated. They've never been treated worse in their life, and yet they miss him and they obsess about him like they never have with anybody else. And why is that? Well, partly because when you are with the narcissist, regular relationship, they don't try to destroy you. They don't try to break you. Like my first husband screwed around on me, but he never once blamed me for it or made me feel that I was somehow lacking and that's why he had to do it. He always owned it. And so when we split, as much as I was heartbroken and whatever, I didn't feel any less attractive or less valuable than I ever had. I mean, he always, I knew he thought I was attractive and stuff. So there's a difference. A person can be somebody that you don't want to be with without being destructive and destroying your soul. And with James, it was always my fault. And if only I had done this or that, or didn't do this or that, if only I wasn't so suspicious, if only I didn't snoop, it was all my fault for snooping. And so you end up feeling so worthless at the end of it, and doubting yourself. Plus, we all have standards that we live by, things that we will accept and won't accept. And I think most victims of a narcissist are pretty upstanding, law-abiding, fair to a fault people. And we do have standards, and we do expect people to treat us with respect. And so when you're with a normal person and you get angry about something they did, they either change or you break up. But like, I just assumed that if I told James my standards, my boundaries, that he would either choose to respect them or leave. I didn't think he would just totally ignore them. And so I would defend my boundaries, like I was upset that he had personal ads. I think most people would be. And he promised to quit, and then he didn't quit, or he was really sorry or blamed me. And so not that I accepted him having personal ads, but in a way I did, because I didn't kick him out. I kept expecting him to either leave or stop doing it. if I could just explain it in a way that he would understand. I kept thinking, I'm just not explaining it right. But then we would break up, and he would promise that he wouldn't do it anymore, and then, oh, excuse me, my nose is runny. But then I would find out that he was still doing it. So, but then he would up the ante. Like, then it wasn't good enough that he was trying to get Russian brides, which I thought was pretty unlikely. Then he started having plenty of fish ads and more accessible women. And so that was another, that was one step further. And then he was communicating with them, and then he went on dates, but nothing ever came of it. So, and I was telling myself it was because he really loved me, but he just didn't find a woman gullible enough to get sucked into his bullshit, I think, is more the truth of the matter. But every time you forgive and take them back, you compromise your standards and your boundaries. And so, here comes another car. So, you lose respect for yourself, and he loses respect for you. And every time you do that, in his mind, he's thinking, I got away with that. What else can I get away with? How far can I push her? And James even said that to me. Every time you forgave me, I had to take it one step further. It's your own fault. I hurt you because you kept taking me back. And so you think by forgiving them and taking them back that they are going to appreciate your loyalty, that you're proving how much you love them, and that you love them unconditionally. But in reality, it's just one more notch in their belt, one more thing they won, and so it just encourages them to continue to up the ante and see how far they can push you until you have compromised almost or all your standards, and now you don't have any respect for yourself. You rely on them more because you've compromised all your standards. So now you're living by their standards, and you don't feel like yourself because you aren't yourself. You're not living true to yourself anymore. So then they dump you, and you've given everything you have to them. Like, there's nothing more that you can give a person than your standards and your respect, your self-respect. So you don't even know who you are anymore because you gave away you've been living by their standards now. They've been telling you when you should be angry, when you should hurt, when you should be happy. So you are left a shell of the person you once were. You don't even know where to start to put your life back together. You've got to get out before you give it all away. I thought that eventually I would get sick of his shit, that eventually I would get sick of being treated like crap, and it would be easy to walk away. But it doesn't happen that way. The longer you're with them, the weaker you get, and the more you need them because you're giving yourself away. And so you need them, and you need them to make you feel good about yourself because you don't anymore. You haven't lived true to yourself. So how can you feel good about yourself? So how can you trust yourself? So that's why you miss them so much. Plus, every day that you've been with them, they've done something that made you think about them, and that's embedded in your brain, and you automatically, your brain goes where you train it to go. So if all you've been thinking about is him, that's where it's going to go. You have to retrain your brain to think about something else, anything else, about yourself for a change instead of him. And take it bit by bit, piece by piece, and put yourself back together.